His flags were hanging up.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the March 22nd, 2022 trustee work session at 9:30 a.m. Roll call. Asherle? Here. Sweattick?
Here.
Augustine? Here. And we will move right over to Mr. Bahari from the service.
How's everybody doing today?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. Did the trustees get the quotes for the furnace replacements?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Did you review them and everything? And so the one from S&S, that's actually a smaller unit or they're quoting a smaller unit than what's in there. And that is just the furnace replacement on theirs. Where Precision is doing the same size that's in there and also the outdoor unit. Generally, I know this from personal experience, like when I replaced all my stuff, generally when you do the indoor unit, you want to do the outdoor unit. So that's what Precision recommended. Their quote came in a little bit higher total, but it was very, very minute. It was like $127 higher. But for what they're replacing, and Precision also, they have all of our units now as it is. When they come in and check them, I just would stick with Precision. That's just what I would recommend. So
their total is $2,950 for the whole kit caboodle, interior and exterior.
No, these two numbers together.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it'd be $5,675.
Add-on option.
Yeah. Which is, I talked with Mike, that's replacing the outside unit as well, which the other quote doesn't include at all.
Yeah.
And the outside unit is probably as old as the inside.
Yeah, probably.
Am I missing a warranty on the S&S? I see there's a warranty on the Precision.
See, that's probably a good page.
There's a maintenance plan on the bottom. See it?
Yes.
So it says Train Limited Manufacturer Warranty.
So with Premier, we're looking at a total of $5,675. And S&S has been working on the building, is that correct?
Precision.
Oh, Precision's been working on the building?
That's the guy that normally comes out once a year and checks all of the furnaces for.
I think the S&S, wasn't that
That was from the historical.
historical study? Dave Manley brought that into us?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that one's a price of $5,548.41, which is a little cheaper. Do we want to ask them what their cost would be to do the exterior too, so we have apples to apples comparison?
We can. It's going to be quite a bit. Because you look at just their outdoor unit, that's $2,950. So we can call back and see what they want to do.
If we want to look at apples to apples, we have that here. We have the 5,500 versus the 2,725. And even at 2,725,
I'm just having a hard time reading it because it's so tiny on my screen.
here you go. The furnace unit is sized accordingly with the existing equipment, where the S&S is a smaller unit.
And S&S does it come with a 3-year warranty?
No, it's a purchase option.
Okay. I'm comfortable moving forward with Precision then, based on the numbers.
I would be too, and I say we would do that at the next trustee meeting.
Okay.
Okay. You good?
I'm good.
Okay.
Works for me.
What unit is that replacing, Mike?
Historical. Their furnace. Yeah.
Martha is doing minutes virtually too, just so you ladies know.
Historical Society.
Okay.
The only other thing that I have is the subdivision standards. Did you guys think about it? Adding different builds? Whatever you guys decide, like Matt Martin said, we'll send something over to him to overview everything before you make a final decision.
Do we have to have an answer for you? You want an answer by next Tuesday?
The quicker we do it, the quicker we can let contractors and builders know so we can have different options to pick from. So, I mean, even if it's just sticking with the build and adding a foot of, to each lane would be helpful immensely. So, but like I said, if you're getting, these large acre plots where the tax revenue may not pay for that concrete road and the longevity of the road, it might behoove us to look at asphalt also on the new installation. So I'm saying it's up to you guys ultimately. That's why we had the engineers come in, they gave their recommendations and what other townships are doing. So I just think you should have a couple builds in that resolution so you guys can pick from it and it covers all your bases. Instead of just having one to pick from.
I agree. And like I said before, I completely agree with what Matt had recommended. Do you think this is more of a zoning or more of a service? That was one of the questions I had asked Mike. Do you want me to work on it?
And I would think it would be more of a service thing, but I mean, zoning,
Because it's directly affecting our developments that are going in.
yeah.
So we're going to change it. Probably should do it in a.
I would say for right now to stick with the current build, but say that you do it wider. That would be my opinion, and then probably put part of this into the comprehensive plan. Let them take consideration for what they want the future of the town to look like. If they want to accept, asphalt roads is part of that.
But I'm not even saying asphalt. Like let's pick an urban concrete curb and gutter also that we can pick from.
Yeah.
And I know with all the new developments going in, that's why I've been pushing this. So it's just something to think about and talk.
Yeah, I would be all right with that as well. It doesn't change the look of it.
So,
But just add something that in your comments is it gives you a control as far as snow removal, that kind of thing, as well as handling runoff.
Yeah, the only downfall is just going to be the replacement cost. So it's going to be higher with wider lanes just because of material costs. So
Yeah.
So do you want to work with Matt on some language for the resolution so we can offer those different varieties? I just think the comprehensive plan steering committee, we have to remember this is an audit. It's just an audit. There's
Right.
only specific things they're talking about and they're pretty in-depth into it right now. I don't know that this is one of the topics that should be considered.
How many, rough guess, how many places do we have curving in now? Do you know?
let's see, rolled or a full curb.
Either.
There's quite a bit. I mean, almost a lot of the newer developments, there isn't any. But like I said, our plow damage list for this spring, it's all in developments with no curb. So that's money out and time for us to go back and fix it with people driving off the road, where if they had a curb, they probably wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'll work with him on some language if you guys are all right with that, and to at least add that to it as an option.
Perfect. And then I have given you the minutes from last year. No, maybe it was 2 years ago where we made,
The resolution.
we made a motion to change that resolution to allow for islands and cul-de-sacs by trustee approval only, and also require the developer to put in a street light. So probably that language could go into the new amended version.
Okay.
Unless there's another consideration that you want to put in besides roads.
No, it pretty much covers it from our standpoint. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack. Anything else?
That should do it.
Okay. Thank you for being here this morning. I know you have a busy morning.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa?
Yes.
I wanted to, is Lynn there taking the minutes? Because I discussed with her that she would begin taking the minutes.
She is here.
Okay. And is she comfortable taking the minutes? Because we had been emailing and discussing.
Right now.
Are you comfortable?
She is here. And
She's in one of the hard chairs.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to verify
That's the
that.
recliner.
Thank you. Anything else for service?
You're back from Mackendorf? Yeah, still no?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Eagle Glass is gonna call at some point in time.
Okay.
I guess I'll leave with these also though. Price of material is constantly going up. Contractors are not holding these quotes for very long. So when we get them, we're gonna wanna make a decision pretty quick. That's not just us, that's everywhere. These contractors, so
So we need to move maybe on the door a little quicker.
just, I would.
Yeah.
Because everything's just gonna keep going up with price.
It
of
is
materials.
going up, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
That's about all I have.
Does anybody else have anything for Mr. Bahari?
I do not.
Okay. Thanks for being
Is it all
here.
right if I?
Yeah, you
get
can
back to my
run, you can
salt
skedaddle,
orders?
and I'm gonna swear in Mr. Schaefer, he just walked in.
I'll discuss with them.
Are you ready, sir?
They're aware of it.
Yeah.
Worked out well. I sent him a text this
Yeah.
morning, and here we are.
Oh, funny, I was gonna text you later today.
Great mind. All right, I'm gonna have you raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Like that.
Oh,
I
I don't think so. I'm sure you're getting what you want.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of
and
Ohio,
will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of Board of Zoning Appeals member for Hinckley Township,
as a Board of Zoning Appeals member
for Hinckley Township of
for
Medina
Hinckley
County,
Township of Medina County,
State of Ohio,
State of Ohio,
during my term on the Board of Zoning Appeals.
during my term on the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome aboard
Thank
as a
you.
full member. It's
Yes.
great to have you. I'll sign this and we'll make note that you're sworn in for the meeting for tomorrow night.
Okay, can I have the floor for a second?
Sure. The microphone's right here at the podium. I didn't know you were gonna take
Well,
the floor. Come on in, Beach.
back in January, the Ag Pro, which owns a lot of John Deere dealerships, has a expo. And this is the first year I've noticed, I get these things every year, but this is the first year that I noticed that they had something for agricultural tourism. And I thought, well, you know, I don't know what this is all going to be about, but it might be worthwhile to go and listen to it. It was really centered on insurance. Your liability if you're going to open this. So afterwards, I put this together, a rough draft and all that. Then I called Brian Richter. And I said, you know, I know we really can't do anything as far as agricultural goes, as far as zoning is concerned. They're exempt. And so I went through some of the things they brought up, and we both agreed that there was nothing the township could do except one thing. And that is that according to our zoning, you have to have ingress, egress. But we do not specify that it has to be two-way. And that is one thing we could do safety-wise and all that bit. And this is one thing that came up by this Matt Ludwig that did the, presentation, is that you don't want to have something like this and have cars butting into each other, one trying to get in, one trying to get out. He says it's just a mess and all this bit. So anyways, I'm going to pass these out to the three of you. You can read these. And
Thank you so much. That's a great point.
then Suzanne is going to be handing
Thank
this
you.
out to the prospective boards. And then also, I think Tom, and I put this in the last or second last paragraph also, that Tom should have all these things that should be done that we can't regulate. And it'd be just like Tom does and I do, and inspectors before me, when people would ask, can I put up a fence? Yes, you can. Where can I put the fence? You can put it right on your property line if you want. But then we always warn them that at some point, you're going to have to maintain this fence. You may want to consider, and we have no authority to do this, but you may want to consider keeping it 3 feet back. And that way you would be able to repair the fence. And then they always tell you, oh, I got the greatest neighbor. The neighbor has no problem with me or anything else like that. And I says, that's today. Okay. Tomorrow you might get into a fight. And then when you go to repair the fence, he's calling the chief over here saying, I want him charged with trespassing. Or that good neighbor moves and the bad neighbor moves in. We've all seen it, as zoning inspectors. Some people take our advice, some don't. And then some people are, I've only had one person say, yeah, I should have really put it back a little bit. But, this is where Tom comes in with all this. And he can sit there and just go through the list and say, before you open this ag business, have you considered all these things? Some people, when you talk to them about zoning, once you just give them your experience of all the years you've had as a zoning inspector and say, have you considered this? And they go, oh, no, I haven't. That's a good thing. Some people sit there and say, well, I'm throwing the towel in right now because this is going to be too much of a headache. And so safety wise, as far as a new business opening up, especially if it's going to be one of our residents, probably. I don't think anybody's not going to be a resident and open up ag business here, but it's a possibility. Just save themselves a lot of headache and getting into trouble, and then also causing trouble for neighbors. Just be good to give everybody a heads up.
That's terrific. Thank you for the recap and the overview that you typed up. It's
Okay.
going to be really helpful. And that you bring up good points. Make sure that we get Tom a copy.
Okay. Well, I'm busy, so I'll be on my way. So thank you very much. And I want to once again publicly acknowledge my appreciation to the three of you for putting me onto the board. And I look forward to, serving the township for at least another 5 years. So thank you very much.
Thank you for serving.
Okay.
We appreciate you. Okay, so who wants to go next? Chief?
Well, no, let Suzanne go. I think she's got,
Chief said you could go.
no, go ahead. I'm in no hurry. Go ahead.
All right,
Normally, they can't wait to get out of here. No.
this morning I sent you an email regarding the 2022 Hinckley Township Community Garden application. It's that time of year where folks will be calling in to see if they can acquire a garden plot, which is located in between the fire station and the service department facilities. Last year, we did incorporate into the application the rules and guidelines to follow for the gardeners. So I believe that's been helpful to help guide the gardeners into what their responsibilities are. We will be emailing the folks that have been consistent with registering for the garden this next week, and then the updated application will be posted on the website. You want to include that in your newsletter?
Yes, I was going to say, if you can remind me, I've got the newsletter done already, but if you want to remind me, I can pop it in there. Just for a backstory for the new trustees, the garden is, the walls were all rebuilt in 2018 as the Eagle Scout project. It's a really nice garden, but we do have some people that complain about, people not weeding properly, things like that. We get a lot of phone calls on it. So the rules have really helped kind of simmer down some of those phone calls and questions that we were getting.
Do you always have all the spots taken?
No, there's usually vacant plots. And we'll take reservations up through the end of May. And then if there's still available lots, then anybody who has registered for a lot can ask for a secondary one. But we try to allow as much participation in the community as possible.
I know when we talked about this yesterday, you had said there's always a couple of people that start with the best of intentions and then it just kind of falls away and it's just
And
overridden with weeds. What happens then?
We'll ask the service department to cover it with a black tarp.
Okay.
Just to keep it at bay. the service department's always very helpful, although
I didn't
it's,
read it.
I'll say this carefully, it's not a priority that they go and run to assist the gardeners. They do have other more pressing responsibilities, but they are helpful in assisting with some of the things. So there is water on site to water. And there was a wheel to use for vegetation debris, but not weed debris, because it's supposed to be a compost where you can reutilize the materials that compost. So.
We have a couple people that have knocked on the service department door and said, why isn't da-da-da done? And it's not their job really to take care of it. So outlining that was a necessity.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I worked on the April calendar, and we talked about the April 5th meeting for the 3 meetings, the special meeting to interview the candidates for the zoning commission position. We will have the public informational meeting with the county engineer to discuss the road repair project with Valley Brook residents, and then a regular meeting at 6:30. There was some discussion about potentially adding interviews for the township proctor, but at this point, it might be premature to decipher a date and time, only because we don't know how many candidates we'll have. But I just wanted to make that point. We can always add it like we do normal special meetings once the calendar has been posted. The proctor position was posted yesterday on the website, and we're going to work with Lynn in the service department to post it on our marquee over by the Historical Society. And then, let's see, with the Valley Brook project, I spoke with Jack to get the map with the residents who will be affected so we could get the letter out. Lynn and I are both at your disposal to assist with that. We just need to get the address, name and addresses. So we
And I also asked Mike to set up some kind of a meeting with the county engineers so we can update all the information in there relative to what the impacts are.
Okay, very good. I will have a funeral today up at Maple Hill Cemetery. The service department was great in getting the gravesite prepared yesterday. We will be working with Trustee Augustine with the zoning fee schedule. Tom and I, we started, we just have a few things to finish up with. My hope is to finalize the zoning reports from last year's fourth quarter and annual. We had a little discrepancy on some numbers, so I just wanted to double check before I do that reporting. And I will have that Department of Commerce paperwork for both Jack and Monique to sign off on, so you can sell cemetery lots in my absence. And I think that's...
We'll have a fire sale.
I think that's all I had. Does anybody have anything for me?
While we've got you here, I think we should talk about the scope of work for the website. We had talked at the last meeting about potentially seeing those folks on the vendors on the 19th of April before the regular meeting. I reached out to my vendor and there is availability for them to come in at that time. Have you guys reached out to your vendors to see if they have availability like we discussed?
I reached out to my vendor actually yesterday morning, and I have not heard back yet.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to that.
So about what time?
We were talking afternoon, and that was what my vendor had asked, what time? If we've got 3 of them, what is our time frame? Do we want to give them each 30 to 45 minutes? Do we feel that they need more time? What are your thoughts?
I mean, my thoughts would be ask them. They're the ones who are presenting. Ask them what they think the amount of time they'll need.
Well, it's a meeting day, so I think we should kind of just figure out what we're going to do. Are we going to meet with these folks right before our regular meeting at 6:30? Or do we want to meet them early on in the afternoon and then come back?
That would probably be better, probably be better.
So do you want to start at like noon? And just give them each, I would say 45 minutes.
All
to
right,
an
if
hour.
we're looking at this date, then I'll contact my guys and get a rough idea of how long he thinks the
Okay.
presentation will take. And I think all three of us should do that. And
I just don't want to be here for 4 hours because they think it's going to take,
Yeah.
I think it's smart to give them a time frame.
I would think a half hour to 45 would be good. So, but I will check to make sure.
Per?
Yeah.
I have one more thing since we're talking about the website. Lynn and I are going to go through the current website and start, based on our retention schedule, eliminating old archive information. So when the vendors are looking at our website, they get a better picture of the storage space that will be in use. Hopefully more of a current showing of what we usually post. So that will be something that Lynn and I are going to try to work on sooner than later. And then, I don't know if you want any kind of formal, we're going to, based on retention schedule, do some sort of comment at a regular meeting that we're eliminating or removing that information from the website in accordance to the schedule, or if we can just go ahead and do it when we're ready to do so.
Monique, do you have a suggestion on that?
Usually what we've done in the past when we're doing a retention schedule is I'll just update my list and give it to our fiscal officer, her records, and comments made at the township meetings that this materials have been removed from our.
In accordance with, right.
I think it's smart to say something publicly though, just in case somebody gets that message that says archived or whatnot, and they wonder where it's been, and maybe it's just good for Monique to mention it at a meeting after you've done it.
Okay. And that will include paper too.
Okay.
Anything that we've held for retention purposes.
Very good.
And that's coming up, we said, right? Is that one of the things that we're discussing tomorrow? If we get to it, if we have time. Might be a continued meeting into Thursday. It's Tom.
It's Tom.
It's Tom.
The other Tom.
Okay.
2.0.
Anything else, Suzanne?
Nope, that's it. Thank you very much.
Lynn, do you have anything from that? Okay. Next. Chief says you, Mr. Wilson.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You don't have to stand if you don't want to.
Well, I like to stand up. Well, I just have a couple of things. Tomorrow night, March 23rd, we have a variance hearing on an in-ground pool. The committee went out to visit that Saturday. And upcoming April 7th, which is a Thursday evening, the zoning commission will be reviewing a final site plan for the village of Hinckley Oaks, which is our senior housing project, now named Hinckley Oaks. And that same evening will be a preliminary site plan review for Serenity Court, which is a 16-lot development off of Center Road.
Both were approved with conditions at the planning commission.
Yes, they have both.
Planning commission.
That's right. And so our committee will have that report from Medina County. And in our code, we have quite a extensive list for the committee to go over on something like this, and includes, parking, landscaping, et cetera, So.
And advocating for some of our current residents that are bordering some of those properties. I can give you guys the BZA conditions on that. I have a copy on my desk that I can run for you. That's something that's going to be for the senior housing project. That's something that the zoning commission is going to have to take note of. As BZA had about 17 conditions that they put together on their conditional use permit.
Yeah, there was quite a list. Yeah.
So I can run you a copy so you have it for your records.
That would be helpful.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Okay, you're welcome.
I've seen these for almost, it's been over a year now, the both of these projects
Yes.
happening in Hinckley. Thank you for your work. All right.
Did you want to pass it on to anybody else, or are
Is
you
there
ready?
Anybody else? that would- No, I will go. I just have a couple items. I believe our anonymous donor has cleared the way for us to spend the remaining 41,000 as we wish. So I've got a number of projects that I'm going to start getting some financial quotes on. The door locks that we've discussed in the past. Our garage floors in the lower level where we park and the Sally port are starting to experience some wear and tear from all the years. So I'd like to look at, getting a floor coating put in to kind of bring those back up and so forth. The carpet in the buildings, the existing or original carpet, it's over 20 years old. I know a couple years ago we had conversation of putting a carport in the back. That kind of got shelved as we moved into, well, are we going to do an addition? I would imagine, Montville uses a carport for all of their vehicles. We're lucky here. We have indoor, housing for our cars at the department and over at the old fire station. So I don't know that that's a real priority, but it is something to, consider. It would probably chew up the biggest chunk of that money, where maybe some of those other projects we could do more with, with those. So I'm going to start looking into those. And if anybody has any other ideas, obviously we're open to, anything. So we've got about 41,000 to spend. So we'll see what we can do to improve the building a little bit. And then the last.
Question about it. How many cars are not in use?
Well, it just depends on how many, officers. If we have 3 out, then obviously there's 3 cars, and then there's 4 that are not in use.
Okay.
So we tend to keep, we have 4 bays below the Sally port, and then over here at the old fire station. So I know that the Detective Bureau minivan stays at the old fire station. The sergeant's pickup truck stays at the old fire station.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of them are either in service or in the garage.
Okay.
So, part of the idea for the carport in the back was we'd have a section of that available for large evidence items that we could lock into a little locked-in fenced area, as well as keeping cars underneath it. So, but given the cost of construction anymore, I'm really not sure what that would look like.
Right.
So,
Would you replace carpet with carpet, or would you look at like a?
I would probably look at changing some things like in the squad room area, that's all carpet, but the guys and gals are tracking in and out in bad weather. And we would probably look at changing that flooring to something more suitable for the use.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, the paints, it was repainted about 10 years ago, I think. I mean, it's okay right now, but that might be a consideration as well.
That's why I'm asking, because I know they have that same, almost like buffer, the carpet that goes up the wall as your quote unquote molding.
Yeah.
So if you were to take that out and put in like a plank floor, you'd have to probably repaint anyway.
Probably.
Yeah.
So we'll take a look at, we'll go through some of those options and get some pricing and go from there.
Very good.
When you look at access control, can you have them look at these? as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you want the service department included in that as well? I know the fire department has their, because that building's a little newer, their system's a little different, but if we're going to look at it, for township wide,
Yeah.
it may, they'll just give us a price. If it's not acceptable, then
Right.
we don't have to do it.
Okay.
So, but I'll have them look at this building, police department, and service department. I'll work with Mike on that.
And fire.
And if we want to switch the fire over to the exact same system, then we can do
Do
that.
you want to switch? Because the fire department has them.
They have like-
I'm not sure exactly if they have, I don't know what their system is, to be
Okay.
honest.
It's not the key fob. It's the keypad, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a key to that.
Well, and if if those doors over there are already wired electrically, then it probably would not, I would make an
Not a huge
assumption,
cost
it may
to
not be a
change it.
huge cost to switch them to a fob system or a card reader
True.
at this point. So I know we've looked at it a little bit over here. Part of the problem is none of those door frames inside the building are wired for electric, so they're going to have to,
Mm-hmm.
do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, we'll look at all of it. We'll see what.
Okay.
And our price was so high because this building is the only one that the doors actually need to be replaced, correct? Or would the PD have to have the doors?
I don't think the doors have to be replaced, and they're all steel frames. So I would imagine they could just run electric through the drop ceiling and down.
When you say our price, you're referring to?
That quote that we already got from.
Oh, that was no access control. That was just the
That was
doors.
just the doors.
Okay. But we can look at it, see what it looks like.
Very good. That's exciting.
So the other thing I was working with Mike on, we did order some new flags for Brongers Park. And I believe out here in a new Ohio flag out here, there are a number of flag purchases that need to be made township wide. So Mike's going to get me a number, and I believe we need a new township flag, and those are kind of custom made through Betsy Ross. So I'm going to work with Mike on that. Get what we need, get a total to it. I'm sure we're going to have to come to the board for approval on that because it's just going to be, I'm sure it's going to be pretty costly.
Mara used to do the Hinckley flag.
Yeah,
Goose Nuts,
yeah,
right over on the industrial parkway.
I don't know. Mike said Betsy Ross makes our custom flags.
Okay.
So if they've already got that set up there, I'll get pricing on it, but we'll see what it looks like.
Are we going to do the keypad, the doors also for the new doors on the east wall? Or is that going to be, have we talked about including that? I mean, if we're getting pricing,
That is
did we?
not in that spec.
Okay.
We can certainly include it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a big deal.
Because is there two man doors
I
on
was gonna say
that?
there's one man door and then a double door. So maybe the man door is the one that you wanted on.
Yeah, I would think the man door, just so someone has access to get
Sure.
in.
And when the construction starts and whatever that project moves forward, we just need to make sure that they wire into those door frames, which shouldn't be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
That would be easy enough to include. So that's all I got.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything for Chief?
Nope.
Thank
Our
you for your
pancake
patience.
grilling expert over there.
God, I swear, I still feel like I can smell pancakes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it smells in my hair.
Last night, I was like, I still smell.
Smells like pancakes.
I went home and immediately threw all my clothes in the washer and took a shower.
Yeah.
And it was like, ugh. And I never ate one pancake the whole day. So
Me neither, but we still
It's
smell
like-
like pancakes.
it was
1,500
crazy.
breakfast.
yeah, it was great. That was great for coming back
amazing.
after 2 years.
Yeah.
That's a great number.
Mhm.
I would say that the community was happy we were
I would
back.
think so. Nobody sent their pancakes back, so that was happy.
But they wanted more.
They waited too long in that
They
line to
did.
get them. They were eating them. Jim told me the guy who was cleaning up was the popcorn guy out front. He goes, that guy was cleaning up
Oh,
because
yeah.
people were just waiting in line. So they were buying popcorn.
Nice.
So hold them over.
Yeah, it worked out well. They've got a really good system in place. And I know moving to the new school presented some challenges, but I think we worked through them well. Everybody did a great job. So we'll tweak a few things for next year, but we'll go from there. I know one of the things I miss was flipping pancakes with the crowd coming through.
Yeah.
And we're just never going to get back to that.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Unless we flip pancakes out front.
Out front. Yeah.
And that's maybe that's
By
a
the
possibility.
popcorn guy.
By the popcorn guy. So you flip somebody a pancake in line because they're starving.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. It will only continue to get better.
That's
Yeah.
So
right.
that's all I've got. Mr. Swedick, whenever you're ready to
Okay.
take our drive, let me know. I'll be ready for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lynn, do you want to move over here? Is that a better spot for you?
You can,
Okay, I just
you want to
wondered.
recline
I would love to have a nice chair.
it.
Martha, do you have anything that you want to discuss while we've got you on here? I don't want to keep her if she's not taking minutes.
No, I think Jack's going to discuss the gas pump software
Okay.
program that Mike at the police station has found. So if he'd bring that up, I'd appreciate it.
Will do. I have a question for you too.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need us to do anything as far as those driving abstract forms?
I'm doing them. I was going to mention that.
Disregard.
I did them last
So
week.
noted.
Okay. Trustee Astral.
Okay, I just wanted to follow up with you both because I know you saw the letter about the survey that needed to be completed for Recycle Medina County. That has been completed as of last week, so that's one thing off my list. And I wanted to talk to you both and see if there are any objections to. I was thinking about purchasing paint and painting my office. And I would paint it personally. So any objections to that?
Not from me.
Okay. Then that leads me into.
Do you want to do
with
mine?
I was going to
Yeah.
say, probably the whole building, the whole building. needs-
You know what? I asked Martha and Suzanne, I'm like, should I ask? I'm like, it's a government building. And they said, maybe. Suzanne said, I don't think you have to. And I'm like, they'll probably say, hey, can you do mine while you're at it? So that brings me to the other thing I wanted to talk about that, Melissa, you had mentioned back in November or December, and that was our thoughts on painting the old fire station.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing the east wall, but we are having a lot of events there. We're going to have the Memorial Day parade ending there. So thought this kind of segued us right into painting the fire station, the old fire station.
Yeah, I brought it up to you. I think it's not Shop with a Cop anymore, Cop Kids and Claws.
Yes.
Because it's used for so many things, and it's got that beautiful burgundy line, like it's still a fire department painted all over. And it just doesn't go with everything. The Highland Foundation was there with all their green in October or November. We've got Memorial Day Parade, the arts and crafts come in, Garden Club meets, so many different things that happen in that space. I just like to see everything kind of clean.
Some people like burgundy.
I don't have a problem with burgundy, but maybe it.
The only thing I would
conflicts
say
with
would
some
be
colors.
if we're looking at construction in there, maybe it's better to let that get done first.
Okay.
That's
That's
just my
fair.
opinion.
That's fair.
Or we could start on this side that's used most while that construction's happening, and then come in and paint that other side where the east wall is being done after it's completed.
Because what did you guys have last year? Was it like a curtain or drop cloth or
Yeah,
something
I
along the
bought
back?
Decorations to put up.
It's
Okay.
very custom.
I bought them from, it's very custom Oriental Trading.
So, I mean, what I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree with that, but what you're saying is maybe if you do the front half first before the construction begins, and is that something that we think we could do before the parade, just so it looks...
Lynn's got a
Being
suggestion.
done by,
Well, when Melissa and I had talked about it last year, I had said maybe could we get like high school kids that need volunteer hours. Melissa had suggested the service department. And actually, when I talked to Martha about painting my office last week and possibly painting the service station, Martha said the service department also, when, they've got some slower time now coming up. They don't have the snow removal, knock on wood, snow removal is done. I just jinxed it, right?
We're not saying-
So she had said, Martha had said service department also.
Yeah, because they're covered under the insurance and if something happens.
Lynn?
This is just a thought, and I apologize if I'm overstepping my bounds, but when you have construction, I don't know the detail of the construction going on in the east wall, but when you have construction, you've got a lot of dust, you've got a lot of stuff. This is just my thoughts only, but when you have the construction going on the east wall, it's going to affect the walls and everything around it, in addition to just that one thing. So maybe it might behoove us to just wait or just cover it up when if you guys do decide to do the painting of that wall, or the other walls and not the east wall to cover it up when that happens. When the construction is going on after the walls, all the other walls.
I think we're talking probably a good month in between these projects, if not more,
Mhm.
because the paint will cure within the week. But it's a good suggestion.
You don't have to apologize. You're a
Yeah.
resident. We like the
Totally fine.
feedback. Yeah. Good suggestion.
Very good suggestion, because we could tape it off so that if there was an issue with, but
Mhm.
I don't foresee it.
And they'll hose everything down, right? It could saw like the columns and everything. They're cinder block. I mean, that's what they did for Buzzer Day, wasn't it? They just power washed everything.
No, we don't have the power of the water to do that. So they had to come in and hose and then wait for the hose to fill up again because it's just well water. But we don't have enough water in town square to do that, to power wash.
Okay.
So do you
So
want-
with that being said, yeah, if you want to do the front half, then
I think just plain white. What were you thinking? You like the burgundy. You want me to keep the burgundy
you
there?
know, what white is fine.
Oh, I was thinking like purple or black. No, I'm kidding. So you want white? Yeah, I was thinking like a nice,
Like a
safe,
clean
neutral.
white.
Yeah.
At crew,
So,
my Williams or my Sherwin-Williams paint swatches I can get out for you.
so you want me to make a motion for it at the next meeting
Yeah.
on Tuesday?
Mike, look into pricing from Home Depot and just get some Behr products or something.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a primer and paint in one to cover that burgundy.
It's probably gonna need a couple coats because it's a dark, especially with the white. I am painting right now. I think this is why I've been bitten by the paint bug because I'm painting my house and I'm painting over a very, very, very light gray ceiling. And it's taken 3 coats with the white, with the Home Depot Behr.
Ceilings are the
So
worst.
yeah, they are.
Very good.
I will
So
I will email Mike.
Next, we'll paint all of this. Yeah, this flooring too is pretty original.
draped burgundy.
It is burgundy. There's a lot of burgundy at town hall.
Okay.
All right. Anything else, Trustee Asherle?
That's all I have.
Trustee Swedick?
As Martha mentioned, the relative to the Auditor of State requirements for fuel inventory and usage monitoring, got a quote from the police department for $4,000 roughly to install a camera over at the pumps. And then the diesel pump modification, the police have a system on the gas pumps you wouldn't be able to feed off of that. You'd have to install a different system on the diesel pumps. And the quote from that Mr. Schroll got me was $250 a month. It would be a subscription service. And I talked with Martha about it, and she felt that that would be worth it to be in compliance with the requirements from the Auditor of State. So I guess I'm looking for an opinion from both of you, whether or not you want to proceed with that and maybe vote on it at the next meeting.
That's a viable option.
You said the camera was
4,000.
4,000.
That's a one-time.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't need the camera though with the software option.
Software's $250.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the 250 would be split between 4 different funds since there's multiple users. So it would be minimal annually to each department.
Thank you.
So it's $250 a year?
Per month.
250 a month.
I don't know.
That seems expensive.
That does seem expensive.
Is it?
That's $3,000 per year.
Mhm.
Might as well get the
The
camera.
alternative is that every employee is going to have to log in with journals in every vehicle every time. So if you guys think that they can achieve compliance that way, and we're also then going to have to include the mileage in that, and then determine the miles per gallon for each vehicle. And it's a tremendous amount of paperwork. So otherwise, if we don't get moving on this, we are going to end up with a citation on our audit for 2022 on this issue.
And if they have to journal it, every single car has to have the journal. I would assume.
Every
Yeah.
single person, every single car, and every single time they put gasoline from any of the 3 pumps in their vehicle. This system will allow anyone to access it down to the individual user, the pump, the vehicle. All those fields are filled in, and we can download any report that we want from it.
Martha, are other townships using this is that how you found out about it?
Actually, well, Mike contacted our Great Lakes Petroleum representative to see if we could just add the software like we have on the regular gasoline pump. And he said that was no longer available, but now they had a system that could be used on all 3 pumps, one system. Right now, we only have accountability for the regular gasoline pump. We have no accountability on the diesel pumps.
Right.
At all. And so we have somewhat of a system that Mike Schroll and I go back and forth on the regular gas. But the other is problematic for compliance with the auditor. So, really it would be $480 a year for each department.
And that's your preference,
Maybe
is to go with the software?
Between $500 or $600 for each department. You would not need the camera because this would detect any potential fraud that occurred. And, about 6 years ago, we did have fraud on the tanks. We had no way to prove it.
Are you splitting this between police, fire, and service? Is that how you're splitting it?
In general?
Police, fire, service, and you can determine zoning or general because all those users utilize those gas pumps.
But this is just going on the diesel pump.
No, it's
This
going on all
It's gonna go
3
on both.
pumps.
Okay.
All 3. This will cover all the pumps.
I would just offer this. In my former life, we did both systems as well. The paper system was abhorrent. There were just so much accounting that you had to do with it, and you were dependent on the employee to fill out that card each and every time.
Mm-hmm.
And when that didn't,
Garbage in, garbage out, so.
Too important to mess with that.
so this forces the employee to input the data at the pump in order to get fuel.
Well, then I would say, split between 4, I would be fine with the subscription, the $250 a month.
I just don't know
subscription.
that that's fair to zoning to be a part of it when they're really using just one vehicle.
Well, I would amortize it like I do the regular gasoline. The other thing to consider is the time involved. So right now, the time involved by Mike Schroll in having to maintain this just one pump. And then what he sends me is all the users on the regular gasoline pump. Then I have to add all the different departments, their gallons of gasoline. Then I have to extract that from the actual cost of the 3 times that the pump, the regular fuel pump gets filled. Then I have to take a percentage of that number per each department, and then I have to determine the cost that is applied to each department. So there's a number of steps right now that are being done in order to comply on one pump. That's the same thing we'd have to do on the other pump.
Well, we're using, technology to help us streamline and bring more efficiency to almost everything we're doing. And I think that this is a really good idea to do that and help you through your processes too, Martha. So I would support it.
Well, I would have to say it's not only me, because if we go to the paper system on the diesel pumps, the
Right.
fire and the service department are going to be responsible for all of that. That's not my job.
Right.
They're going to have
And
to
that's-
submit those reports, and they would have to pass audit compliance. So it may be well worth it to them.
And that's what we just were saying, is that their time is too valuable to be doing stuff like that. Like I said, I would support it.
Right. And Martha, did you speak directly with Mike Schroll? And because I wasn't under the impression that it included all the pumps. Did he
Yeah.
explain that to you?
Yep.
Okay, great. Then I'm on board.
Yeah, the one that it would replace the system we're currently using on the gasoline pump, and it would include the add-on the 2 diesel tanks.
Very good.
So we can take care of that at the next meeting?
Yep.
Okay, the other is, I have per company. The chief mentioned I'm taking a ride with him. I'm going down to see if that company is still in business. Then I'll contact the prosecutor's office after I get back.
And that's with regard to the
Maple Hill work.
yeah.
One thing regarding the contract negotiations coming up for the police, can we set up a meeting with the person who's going to be representing us to discuss what, her thoughts are on it?
I left a message for her yesterday.
Okay, great. And then my last thing is relative to cemetery fees, we need to decide what the definition of a resident is. Would that be anybody who lived here for any length of time, or?
What did the prosecutor say? Did he give us a?
He said you need to define what resident
He
is.
said you guys
Yeah.
needed to get your policy in order.
So I would say anybody who has lived in Hinckley Township for a period greater than 2 years.
Current resident?
To a resident, period. Then they would have the option to purchase.
That's going to open the door to a lot of people. What does Granger's and Sharon say? Do they have language about that? I thought we were going to look into their language.
They also use the word resident,
Yeah, so they don't have a definition.
but they didn't define it, no.
And did we say, if they move out of the township, they're maybe, older person can't maintain the lot anymore, so they move out of the township, but then they want to be buried here. Is that qualifying as a resident or no? Because
They
they're no
would still have been
longer,
a resident. So maybe you want to set it at 10 years. I mean,
right. That's why I'm asking current resident or,
Because as soon as you move here, you're a resident.
right.
I'm not going to say to somebody, I'm not going to listen to what you have to say or respond to your email because you've only lived here a day. You're a resident.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You come up to, I want to purchase a
Right.
cemetery lot. Do you live here? Yes. Okay.
All right, so we're defining it as someone who was a former resident.
Correct.
So a former resident would have had to live here X amount of years
Right.
to maintain,
In order to be able to
in order
purchase
Okay.
after leaving.
So with that said, what's our X in this formula? What's our time frame? 10 years?
I would think at least 10 years.
honestly, can you ask the public at the next meeting? I'd be curious what they have to say.
Sure. I can do that. All right.
Perfect.
That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you. All right. I had the scope of work, which we just went through for the website. I am tackling the driving abstracts. I'm through all of them. I just got the fire departments today from my mailbox. I did it last year with Martha. So because I already had the database in the system that I created last year, I just took it on. So I will get that finalized into her. I spoke with Kim Miller over in Sharon Township, and she had given me the contact for the employee handbook. This woman is working on Sharon Townships right now. And Kim was really funny. She said kind of what you said. She said, well, if you just want to use ours once we're done, let her know. But I think she kind of needs to probably compare what we already have and incorporate, mesh the two. So I did leave a message for her. Township Cleanup Day. I got a flyer from the county, and Monique, I think I'm going to give it to you and see if it's something that's worthwhile to bring into the township, because it's through the county waste and recycling.
Okay.
Might be an idea for us. I just spoke to another resident yesterday who said he really wants to clean out his house. He's got all this stuff. He doesn't know what to do with all of it. Kimball won't take it all.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be an option to do like an event or a day of, township cleanup. I'll give you the information and see if it's something that we want to pursue. I had police contracts, so thank you for that. The zoning fee structure, as Suzanne said, we got through almost all of it. We've got about 10% more to tackle. I'm still waiting to hear from B&T on the microphone for this room. God bless you. For the comprehensive plan meeting, they won't be here in time for next Tuesday's meeting, but I'm still working on it. The comprehensive plan steering committee and quotes. So you have a quote in front of you. I made a copy for Martha too.
Oh, this is for the mailing?
This is for the mailing. And the reason we hustled on this is because I'd like to potentially vote on it at Tuesday's comprehensive plan meeting. So Lynn looked into it for us. And Arthur from OHM Planning gave us a rough estimate of a 2-page front and back. We did decide to make it black and white. So that color option saved us a lot of money. They will be numbered, and they will include a pre-stamped envelope for return. So that fee is $1,472.51. And if you are in agreement, I can pursue it for Tuesday's meeting. The next page will show that for the 3,500 stamped envelopes at an estimated 25 cents each, there's an additional cost of $875 for the mailing itself. So it would be $875 plus the $1,472. I can do the math on here.
Flags in the ground where that's so okay, because I have a lot of concrete pins, but
And this is actually, believe it or not, a little less expensive than the mailing we did last year for the opt-out letter because we did color. I think we paid about $1,600 for those letters last year. So it's a total of $2,344.51 to ensure that every resident has an opportunity to participate in the survey. I don't know what type of participation we're going to get, but if we can ensure that everyone has an opportunity, like Arthur and OHM Planning recommended, I think that this expenditure is a valid one.
yeah, this was
Okay. I feel we already agreed that this was how we were going to pursue it. So Angel Printing is who we've used in the past for the opt-out letter. Now twice have we used them?
Yes. Do you have anything to add, Jack?
I don't think we'll get a lot back. So it's a shame that we're putting postage in there, but I don't see any other way to do it fairly. And, that's the best possible way to get engagement. So, yeah, I'm okay with it.
Perfect. So I will put that together for a motion for Tuesday night's meeting, since it's a comprehensive plan meeting. I think that this will fit underneath that category. And then I emailed the committee yesterday to update them and give the new committee members all of the videos, the OHM planning PowerPoint that was given at the last meeting. And I wanted to note to both of you, Mr. Walrath has agreed to be a part of the committee, but Mr. and Mrs. Lishner called me on Friday after several messages left for them at 6:00 last Friday and said that they would like to decline the offer. So I wanted to let you know that that's where we are with the additional committee members.
That was my understanding.
Any thoughts, questions?
No, I saw the email. Thank you for copying us on it.
Okay. And then I want to just lastly to think about our work sessions. They wanted to kind of see if you guys think that this is something you're going to do for till June. Do you think this is something you're going to do till September, to the end of the year? What are your thoughts on work sessions?
I do like them. I think we get a lot of stuff out of the way here that we wouldn't have to drag on to in a regular meeting. And also gives us an opportunity to see where we're at without 2 weeks in between.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to do it at least through the end of the summer.
Yeah,
Revisit it then.
I don't have an end time in mind. I mean, I don't know what past boards have done, if past boards have, only had them for a short amount of time, or if it's been something that's just ongoing. I think it's beneficial that just to have these open conversations instead of, only essentially twice a month at the regular meetings. So I do not have an end time in mind. I see the benefit to them. Is it something that we need to look at changing the time? Is it the time that's not working?
I think that in talking to the public, I'm hearing that they're missing this discussion at the meeting. That we come in and we vote and that they're not hearing the discussion. We're just voting. We're saying, oh, we just talked about that at the work session.
Mm-hmm.
And they're at work and they're missing that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's probably one of the reasons why our proctor can't proctor anymore, because the work sessions don't correlate with her schedule. And I think it may be an issue for future proctors. And I just think it's a lot of time. I think and with time is money, having our department heads here, working on all the variables, the extra minutes that Martha and Lynn are doing. I just think it's a lot. So I have no problem with doing them. I think they're beneficial as well, but I'm just letting you know that some of the things I'm hearing is people are saying, what's the point of coming to a meeting? You're just voting. There's no discussion happening because it's happening here.
Mm-hmm. I think that just kind of segues us back to the conversation that I brought up at the last meeting that we'll address once the website is up and running, and that is recording the meetings and, having people have full access that they can watch them at their leisure. When they're at work during the day, they can pull that up easily on the website and keep up to date on everything. I find it to be very valuable that we have these. I mean, we've been here for a little over an hour already, and we've been able to cross some things off of our list that don't even need to be discussed next week. And we started some good conversation that we can carry into next week. So I personally see the benefit to them.
And that's where I'm at right now too, as well. So
That's fine with me. I just wanted to bring it out and talk to you guys about it. The people that I'm talking to said, hey, I could watch the video, but I don't have another 2 hours in my day or 3 hours in my day to do that, especially at work.
But to that point, if we don't have this discussion here, would we not have it at a regular meeting, and then that meeting would be 2 hours longer or whatever? Actually, the first meeting was extremely long. I will agree to that.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're like at an hour and 10, and we're about ready to wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
This one was pretty efficient.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that has not been happening. I just wanted to let you know what I'm hearing. So,
Okay.
and so you get your feedback. All right. Anybody else? Anything else? All right. I would like to make a motion to adjourn at 10:39 a.m.
Second.
Seconded by Astral. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, shoot. You know what I forgot to do again? Virtual interaction.
Did you already cut it off?
No. You know what? If you guys are still on, are we already adjourned?
Did we lose anybody?
We already adjourned.
Adjourn though.